WBMI, Classic Hit Country 105.5. Good evening. I'm Mike McCall with a chance to talk to Scott Govitz. He is a Hall of Fame. What's the official title, Scotty?
Wow, that sounds pretty impressive. Actually, I'm in the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan Hall of Fame.
There you go.
But not for playing, Mike. Not for playing. I've actually been an announcer at the scores table for the Beavers for closing in on 30 years, believe it or not.
And I'm telling you, you do a heck of a job.
Well, thanks. I'm in that category of friends of basketball, and it's a lot of fun. It's been great fun over the years.
That is awesome. Okay, what we're here to talk about tonight is the big Hall of Fame ceremony that's going on at halftime of you guys' game, Beaverton against Roscommon. Fill us in.
Well, this is the second year we're going to enshrine the 2009 class into the Beaverton Sports Hall of Fame. And we're doing much the same as I just mentioned with that state association. We accept nominations annually now. Actually, we will allow them to come in anytime throughout the year. And we'll take those to the nomination committee or to the actual Hall of Fame committee. And from those nominations, we'll select individuals who meet the standards, and we enshrine them. And so this is our second year. We're very excited about it.
Last year, we actually had a chance to be at the game, talk to you at halftime of that. So now I'd like you to fill us in on who the new members are and stuff.
Well, it's a great chance to say thanks to some people who have made some real impact on the community. You know, when I say it's not just the athletes, I mean that. When you look back to last year, we enshrined the likes of Clarence Metzger, a gentleman who spent 50 years plus in the Beaverton school systems in any capacity you can imagine. Mm-hmm. But this year, we continue that tradition, and we're going to enshrine 4 individuals, and they are Jeff Christian. Jeff is an All-American, All-State. He's done just about everything with respect to distance running. Doyle Durkee, who was one of the best basketball guys to ever suit up and put the sneakers on and hit the hardwood for Beaverton. Roy Johnston, who, if you think of Beaverton athletics and you've been around much in any school around the region or even the state, you know his name. This is a guy that has a tremendous record in coaching the basketball teams of Beaverton. And then Mike Lohr. And Mike was a guy who was a steamroller back in the 1960s and 1970 when he graduated, went on to play college football and was just unstoppable. And believe it or not, Beaverton had an undefeated squad in '69, and Mike was a part of that.
I hear that that was probably the best squad ever down there.
That is what's been told by those individuals who were around to see it, and by the comments that we received by the community. And we enshrined actually one of his teammates last year. We enshrined Dan Grant, who was with him in the backfield, and Dan is a Hall of Fame member and now gets to go in with his buddy Mike.
That is very cool. Now, Scott, you want to say a little bit about each one of these guys, or where do you want to take it from here?
Well, yeah, we can do that. If we look back at Jeff Christian, I mentioned that he's an All-American. I mean, can you just imagine coming from a small school? You know, sports are so important, as are the academics, as is the band, as is the student government, and, you know, every little piece in the school system is so important to a small community. And we get to recognize some of our sports heroes who we got to see growing up, some of us, and the like. And, you know, this is one of those guys. You talk about small town. Here's an All-American, not once, but twice. This guy won twice, cross-country state champion, a 2-time Class B state 2-mile champion, 2-time Class B 1-mile runner-up, 3-time National Juniors Collegiate Athletic Association All-American. I mean, this kid is just unbelievable, and you'll see some of the comments. I'd like to direct folks to our Hall of Fame website, which is at www.beavertonhalloffame.com. And you'll see comments from lots of individuals, and they're including Jeff's past coaches and people who ran against him and the like, and it's great stuff. He's tough to beat.
Mm-hmm.
And,
awesome.
and it was an easy selection for the committee.
Right.
Joining Jeff this year, we're also very privileged and lucky to have Doyle Durkee. And, thinking back to some of your hardwood days, Mike, you may remember Doyle. He was a toughie. Doyle was a guy who averaged 20 points a game in consecutive seasons, and not only that, on the basketball court, for which, most of us remember him most, but here's a guy who also was an all-state guy in 4 different arenas in the track field, held records for a number of years, and just an all-around great guy too. And he led the Beavers to what was, in recent memory, in recent mind, I guess, 1976.
Yeah.
That squad went on to play in the regional championship game, and to me, it was sort of the rebirth of basketball in Beaverton, and Doyle was so integral in that. Mm-hmm. And as I said, he was also an all-state guy who did a lot of things, including pole vaulting and other things in the track field as well. So another class act going into the Hall. Well, and then we're going to have to talk about Roy Johnston.
Right.
Now, you know a little bit about Roy.
A little bit. I don't know if we could share everything over the airwaves, though.
Well, I don't think we would, but it's like this, Mike. You know Roy as a competitor.
Right.
You played softball with him, both on his teams and against him. And when he's on the court or on the baseball or softball field, he was a competitor.
Oh, yeah.
To the nth degree. But off the field, he's just one of the guys and having fun with the rest of us. But, you know, when he came to Beaverton back in 1974, he's now in his 35th campaign with the Beavers as a head coach. Here's a guy with 650-plus wins at the city level, and that includes a short couple of years stint of girls basketball when he took the ladies to the district championship. But here's a guy with closing in really on, 700 wins.
Yeah.
If you look at the High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame website, he's there. If you look at their records for the coaches, he's there amongst the top 10 and is only, 1, 2, 3, 5, 15 wins away from closing in them top 5 numbers of all-time coaching victories for high school coaches. He's a guy who has, among other things, 16 Jack Pine Conference Championship, 13 District Championship, 4 regionals, 4 quarterfinal appearances, a semifinal appearance. He's done it all with respect to high school basketball.
Beaverton basketball has been very blessed.
It has, and in talking to some of the other Hall of Famers, like the one we're about to talk about, Mike Lohr, what Mike told me was, what Beaverton has in Coach Roy is the ability to have a stable system. Unlike the football system, who's gone through lots of coaches throughout the years, It's been stable. And then he has coaches under him who have been there for literally hundreds of victories and years and years and years of service. So it has been stable. Mm-hmm. Mike Lohr is going in, and Coach Van, who is in the Hall of Fame as well, coached Mike and called him the best pro prospect he ever had.
Awesome.
Mike Lohr pounded out 1,150 yards as a senior fullback, but he was known actually more and may have been scary more to opponents on the defensive side.
Right.
He was a guy who would come across and just pound the runners or the people who might receive the pass, and he actually went on to play linebacker over at Central Michigan University, where he stayed for a short stint. Here's a guy who, amongst those things, the 1,150 yards, his team went 8-0-1, regarded locally as the best or one of the best ever. Awarded the Bay City Times Coca-Cola Golden Helmet Award as a senior. They don't give those things out.
That's right.
And Detroit Free Press All-State Honorable Mention, played defensive end, as I mentioned, at CMU, an All-State player. And just rounds out a really nice class for 2009.
I'll tell you what, I think you guys have done a heck of a job. Scott, if folks want to get involved in this, they want to see it, they can go to the website or a telephone number. Can you give them that again?
Yeah, please do. Go to www.beavertonhalloffame.com, and all of the information you need is there. By the way, if you played with one of these fellows, there you'll see an interesting interview with each one of them, Q's and A's. You're over in Meridian tonight, and you're going to see the Fillmore boys' names mentioned not only by Mike Lohr in his Q&A's, you'll see it in there mentioned by Coach Roy Johnston and the like. Lots of good reading. You can add your comments, and you can nominate your Hall of Famer for years to come. You can do it right online.
All right. That's fantastic.